Have you ever read a rag to riches story and thought to yourself, I wish I could do that too? Well, you're in luck today. In this video, I'm going to share with you a straightforward explanation of how a person who has almost nothing can turn into a millionaire. Judging by the title of this video, you might have already guessed that you can grow your money by owning rental properties. But before we get into that, let's take a step back for a second and talk about why it's so important to own rental properties in the first place. Owning rental properties is one of the best ways to build wealth and passive income streams. And the best of all, it doesn't even require too much work on your part once they're set up and running. First and foremost, we will talk about how this real estate thing works. Let's say you buy a house or a duplex or maybe even an apartment, and this is what you rent out. Before we dive into the mathematical side of things, let's first remember the crucial fundamentals when it comes to owning rental properties. We have to look at the four wealth generators, which are basically the four main things that make owning rental properties great. If you combine these four together, you have a higher chance of making millions. The first thing is notably cash flow, which is the extra money that a property earns every month. In other words, it's income without the expenses. What you want to do is to really understand how expenses work because they can get pretty complex. You have to make sure to get all the expenses when you're calculating, but to sum it all up, it is the money you'll have with you when the month is over. The second thing is appreciation. As you know, the value of properties tend to rise over a period of time. Although sometimes a crash happens like the one in 2008, and when they occur, the prices tend to drop. As long as you have a property, if you stick around long enough, you'll be able to see appreciation. That brings us back on our first point, which is cash flow. Because as long as you're generating cash flow, you can keep the property as long as you need to wait for its value to climb. Next, we'll talk about loan paydown. But before that, leave a like on this video if you haven't already and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so that you can learn more about real estate in our future videos. Typically, when you buy real estate, you take out a loan from a bank and pay it back every month. But the wonderful thing is that the debt is paid down over time. So you can start owing 200K but gradually owe almost nothing. The loan might start off high, but it will decrease eventually after a certain amount of time has passed. Fourth, we have tax benefits. We're not going to go into detail on tax benefits in this video. However, in real life, the tax benefits are enormous. For example, if you made 100K from real estate alone, and your friend made the same amount from working in a job or having a small business that they own, if you think about the possibilities of who can make much more money, then the answer would be you. During that time period, your loan balance decreased because after a while, the loan gets paid down. So when you look back at it, see that you started with 80, but after some time, you now only owe about 78.5, meaning that you made $1,500 through loan paydown. Simultaneous to that, the value of the property also climbed. So if it was $100,000 before, if it had an average of 3% appreciation, then it is now worth 103,000. If you add the money you've made, which was 3,000, 1,500, and 2,400, you've now earned 6,900 on those four wealth generators alone. I know it isn't $1 million yet, but the good thing about this process is that it gains traction as more time passes. When you start paying the loan quicker, the property value rises alongside it. In other words, the property's value climbs approximately 3% annually, while the loan will decrease annually as well. This right here is the equity, which also increases as time continues to pass. To give you a more specific example, after a decade or so, the worth increases to about 130,000 and you only owe 60,000 on that property. Basically, you have 70,000 in equity. And if you remember that it occurred over 10 years, you have also been making 2,400 each year from cash flow, leaving you with another $24,000. And to sum it all up, you've earned $94,000 just from a single property. Do you have your own investment properties? If so, what are your goals for the next 10 years? Tell us your thoughts in the comment section below and like this video if you haven't already. By this example alone, it's going to take you about 100 years to be a millionaire, since you're taking 10 years to make 100K, but keep in mind that this particular scenario only use one single property. If you master how to replicate this in more deals, like say something more significant than $100,000 house, like a $500,000 house, or maybe even an apartment complex, you have to apply the same principles again. Remember that as time passes, the property value goes up while the loans get paid down. Each month you're paying off and adding value, and you're also growing richer. Here are a couple questions you could have. Firstly, how could you pay all of these down payments if you're choosing to purchase rental properties? Although you may initially save money for the down payment, you can create a portfolio utilizing various innovative methods such as home hacking or burr investing. If you can find partners or raise private funds, you could renovate and flip homes. You, in turn, could use those profits to invest in rentals. Now, another question is, how do you manage all the properties? You don't have to be completely hands on, and you can do this by hiring a property manager who will help you handle things such as getting phone calls and the likes. Of course, you will still have to look after them, but at least your workload is not as heavy as before. You might also be wondering what the right thing to do in case the market crashes. If and when that happens, you should keep holding on to them and maybe even buy more properties since everything will be on sale. And you can eventually grow them until you can start earning your millions through real estate. It's not something that can happen overnight, but if you have the patience and dedication to keep going, your efforts will surely pay off. And that concludes this video. I hope you gained new insights into this topic, and if you have any further thoughts, please share them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and switch on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time.